December 14, 2014, from M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. It was the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens won the toss and they elected to defer, so Jacksonville would start off with the ball first in this game. And they had it on their own 15 to start their first possession. They were faced with a 2nd and 6 from the 19. Toby Gerhart then ran for 9 yards and a first down as he brought the ball to the 28. Then on 2nd and 1 from the 37, Toby Gerhart ran for 4 yards and a first down as he brought the ball to the 41. Then they were faced with a 3rd and 8, and an incomplete pass would bring out the punting unit, and the punt was blocked. It was blocked by Stewart, recovered by Aiken, and Aiken scooped it up and ran it in 11 yards for the touchdown. So the Ravens scored on a block punt to put the first points on the scoreboard with the score Baltimore 7, Jacksonville 0. So now Jacksonville would get the ball for the second possession in this game, for their second possession, and they would start off on their own 22. They ended up with the ball on the first down on the 34. Gerhart ran for 3 yards. That was after a 12-yard run by Alulu on the kick return. And so then on 3rd and 10 from the 34, Bortles hit Cecil Shorts for a 30-yard pass, and that brought the ball across midfield to the 36, but they weren't able to get another first down, and out would come Josh Scobee to attempt a 53-yard field goal. It was up, it was good, and the Jaguars were on the scoreboard with the score Baltimore 7, Jacksonville 3. So now Baltimore would get the ball with about 9.5 minutes in the first. They had it on their own 20 to begin their possession. And on first down, Joe Flacco hit Steve Smith for an 11-yard reception and a first down at the 31. But they would end up having to punt the ball from the 37. So the punting unit came out after 4 plays. And now Jacksonville would take over on their own 11 with 8 minutes on the clock in the first. They were faced with a 3rd and 3 from the Jacksonville 18. Blake Bortles then hit Allen Hurns for a 27-yard reception, which made it a first down on the Jacksonville 45. Then on 3rd and 1 from the Baltimore 46, Blake Bortles hit Lee. Marquise Lee picked up 13 yards and a first down at the Baltimore 33. Then on 2nd and 3 from the 26, Johnson ran for 17 yards and a first down at the 9-yard line. So it was 1st and goal on the 9, but after picking up 1 yard with a run by Johnson, it was 2nd and goal from the 8, and Blake Bortles out of the shotgun was sacked by Jernigan. So Jernigan dropped him for an 11-yard loss, and on 3rd and goal from the 19, out of the shotgun, Blake Bortles was sacked for the 2nd consecutive play, this time by Elvis Dummerville, and it was for an 8-yard loss. So now on 4th and goal from the 27, out would come Josh Scobee to attempt a 45-yard field goal. It was up, it was good, and the Jaguars cut the Ravens' lead to 1 with the score Baltimore 7, Jacksonville 6. So now the Ravens would take over on their own 10-yard line after the kickoff, and with just over a minute left in the first, Forsett ran for 2 yards and then 3 yards on 2nd and 8 from the 12 to bring the ball to the 15 as the first quarter came to a close. So after 1 quarter of play, the score was Baltimore 7, Jacksonville 6. So now to start the second quarter, the Ravens had the ball on their own 15. They were faced with a 3rd and 5. Joe Flacco then hit Owen Daniels for an 8-yard reception that made a first down on the 23. Then on 2nd and 6 from the 27, Flacco dropped back to pass. He hit Jessic for a 4-yard reception, but he was blown up by Thomas. He fumbled, and Evans recovered for Jacksonville. So now the Jaguars would take over on the Baltimore 33, starting their possession in field goal range. But they weren't able to get a first down, and on 4th and 12 from the 35, after Blake Bortles was sacked on 3rd down for an 8-yard loss by Terrell Suggs, out came the field goal unit, and Josh Scobee would attempt another 53-yard field goal. It was up, it was good, and the Jaguars were now in the lead by 2 points with the score Jacksonville 9, Baltimore 7. So now Jacksonville would take over on their on the Baltimore 48 because it ended up being an onside kick. And so the Jaguars would recover the onside kick. Cyprian jumped on it. And so now they had the ball on the 48. So Jacksonville takes a chance with the 2-point lead. And they ended up faced with a 3rd and 7 on the 45. And Blake Bortles hit Todman for a 19-yard reception and a first down on the Baltimore 26. But their drive would stall on the 24, and out would come Josh Scobee to attempt a 42-yard field goal. It was up, and it was no good. It was wide right. And so the score remained Jacksonville 9, Baltimore 7. So Baltimore dodged a bullet, and they would have the ball on the 32 after their own 32 after the missed field goal with 9 minutes left before halftime. They were then faced with a 3rd and 2 from their own 40, and Joe Flacco hit Brown for a 12-yard reception and a first down that brought the ball across midfield to the Jacksonville 48. And on first down from the 48, Joe Flacco hit Owen Daniels for a 22-yard reception and a first down on the Jacksonville 26. Then on 2nd and 10 from the 26, Joe Flacco hit Gillmore for a 17-yard reception and a first down on the 9-yard line, as it was now 1st and goal. They tried to punch it in. Forsett picked up 5 on first down, and on 2nd and goal from the 4, Pierce picked up a yard. And that made it 3rd and goal from the 3. An incomplete pass would then bring out Justin Tucker to attempt a 22-yard field goal. It was up. It was good. And Baltimore was now back in the lead, up by 1, with the score Baltimore 10, Jacksonville 9. So now Jacksonville would take over with about 3.5 minutes left in the second quarter and the ball on their own 16. But on 2nd and 10, Blake Bortles was sacked by Terrell Suggs for a 5-yard loss, and that would move it back to the 11. They'd pick up 3 yards on a short pass to Hearns from Bortles on 3rd down, but a penalty against Jacksonville for an eligible man downfield. It was declined, and out came the punting unit as Jacksonville went 3 and out. So now Jacksonville turned the ball over by punting, going 3 and out, and Baltimore would take over on their own 39 with just under 3 minutes left in the quarter. Joe Flacco then hit Gillmore for a 20-yard reception and a first down that brought the ball across midfield into the Jacksonville 41 for the first down. And then on 3rd and 12 from the 43 of Jacksonville, Joe Flacco dropped back and hit Steve Smith for a 9-yard reception. And there was a holding penalty against the defense. And it was now 1st and 10 on the Jacksonville 38. So then on first down, a penalty against the offense for holding, and it would bring it back to the 48. And after a pair of incomplete passes, it was 3rd and 20 from the 48, and Flacco hit Brown. He picked up 12, but was 8 yards shy of the first down. And so out would come Justin Tucker to attempt a 54-yard field goal with just 46 seconds left on the clock in the first half. It was up, and it was no good. So the kick was no good, and the score remained Baltimore 10, Jacksonville 9. So now Jacksonville took over, trailing by a point with just 40 seconds left before halftime. They had the ball on their own 44. Blake Bortles out of the shotgun hit Cecil Shorts the 3rd for a 6-yard reception to bring the ball to the 50, 2nd and 4. Bortles then went to Hearns. He picked up 23 yards and a first down that brought the ball to the 27 as Jacksonville took their final timeout. An incomplete pass would make it 2nd and 10 on the 27, and with just 9 seconds left and no timeouts, Josh Scobee would come out to attempt a 45-yard field goal. It was up, and it was good as the Jacksonville Jaguars took back the lead by 2 heading into the locker rooms at halftime after Flacco took the knee. The score was Jacksonville 12, Baltimore 10. So now to start the second half, the Baltimore Ravens would get the ball first. They'd start on their own 20, but they would fail to get a first down as they would go 3 and out and punt the ball from their 22. Now Jacksonville would take over on their own 36 with a little over 13 minutes on the clock in the third, but they would go 3 and out as well, and they would end up punting from the 43. So now Baltimore would take over on their own 20 with less than 12 minutes left in the third, and on first down, a penalty against the defense, a personal foul, would make it a first down on the 35 for the Ravens, their own 35. They're then faced with a 3rd and 3 from the 42, and Joe Flacco hit Torrey Smith for a 4-yard reception and a first down at the Baltimore 46. Flacco then dropped back and he hit Brown for a 22-yard reception and a first down that brought the ball across midfield and into Jacksonville territory for the first down on the 32. Joe Flacco then dropped back and he hit the tight end Owen Daniels for a 29-yard reception that made it 1st and goal on the 3. And on first down from the 3, Joe Flacco went back to the tight end Owen Daniels for the 3-yard touchdown pass as the Ravens took the lead by 5 with the score Baltimore 17, Jacksonville 12. So now Jacksonville will get the ball with 8.5 left in the quarter. They had it on their own 20. They would end up faced with a 3rd and 3 and an incomplete pass along with a pass interference call, but it was declined as the punting unit would come out. But then on the punt, they went for a fake punt, and it ended up being Taufa'u who picked up 19 yards in the first down. And there's no way I said that name right, but you try to say it better. So now it was a first down on the Jacksonville 46. Toby Gerhart ran for 10 yards in the first down at the Baltimore 44. And then on 3rd and 10 from the 44, an incomplete pass would end up bringing out the punting unit. And it ended up being a challenge on Baltimore's part, is they challenged if it was an incomplete pass, and it was an incomplete pass. So now they got held with a timeout, and the punting unit came out to punt from the 44. Baltimore now would take over on their own 9-yard line with about 4.5 minutes left in the third. They were faced with a 2nd and 10 from the 9, and a penalty against Jacksonville would make it a first down, a pass interference call, and now Baltimore had it on their own 39. But then a holding penalty, was actually the 3rd penalty out of 4 plays, 3rd penalty in a row actually. And so now they move back to the 29. They weren't able to recover from that, and they would end up punting from the 43 as they were not able to pick up a first down after all these penalties. And so now Jacksonville would take over on their own 7-yard line, backed up against their own end zone with 2 minutes left in the third. They're faced with a 3rd and 7 from the 10. Blake Bortles then hit Lewis for a 17-yard reception and a first down that brought the ball to the 27. Gerhart was then stopped for no gain, and the third quarter came to a close. So after 3 quarters of play, the score was Baltimore 17, Jacksonville 12. So now to start the fourth quarter, Jacksonville had the ball on their own 27. It was 2nd and 10, and Blake Bortles was sacked by Jernigan on the first play of the fourth quarter for a 7-yard loss. Bortles then hit Hearns for an 11-yard reception, but it wasn't enough for the first down, and out came the punting unit. So now Baltimore would take over with 13.5 minutes left on the clock in the fourth quarter, and they had it on their own 35. They were faced with a 2nd and 4 from the 41. Forsett picked up 4 in the first down as they're running the ball, trying to run out the clock at this point. Then on 2nd and 7 from the 48, Joe Flacco hit Torrey Smith for a 12-yard reception, a first down that brought the ball across midfield and into Jacksonville territory at the 40. Then on 3rd and 1, Flacco got stopped short for no gain as he wasn't able to pick up the first down, so they would bring out the field goal unit, and then they got a delay of game, so they would end up going back 5 yards as it was going to be a 49-yard attempt, but now it would be a 54-yard attempt, and it was up and it was no good. It hit the upright. So it was long enough, but it hit the upright, and the score remained Baltimore 17, Jacksonville 12, as they failed to extend their lead to 8, and it remained a 5-point game. Now Jacksonville would take over with 8.5 minutes left to play in regulation. They had it on their own 44. But then on 2nd down, Blake Bortles out of the no-huddle in the shotgun was sacked for a 5-yard loss by the rookie C.J. Mosley. Now it's 3rd and 15 from the 39, still out of the no-huddle in the shotgun. Blake Bortles dropped back to pass, and he was sacked for the 2nd consecutive play, this time by McPhee and Terrell Suggs for a 10-yard loss. And out would come the punting unit on 4th and 25 from the 29 as Jacksonville would punt the ball back to Baltimore, and they would take over after the 3-and-out with 2 sacks on the short possession. And so now Baltimore had the ball on their own 16 with less than 6.5 minutes left to play in the fourth. They would go 3 and out as well and end up punting from their own 15 as they end up going backwards. And so now Jacksonville will get the ball back, trailing by 5 with just over 5 minutes left to play in the fourth quarter. They had it at midfield on the 50. And on first down, Blake Bortles hit Cecil Shorts the third for a 12-yard reception and a first down at the 38. Then on 3rd and 6 from the 34, Todman lost 3 yards, and that would make it 4th and 9 from the 37. And trailing by 5 points with 3.5 minutes on the clock, Jacksonville elected to go for it. And there was a no huddle out of the shotgun, and Blake Bortles went to Cecil Shorts the third, and it was incomplete. And so Jacksonville turned the ball over on downs as the Baltimore defense came up huge on the 4th down. And now Jacksonville would be up against Baltimore with 3.5 minutes left, trailing by 5 and needing to get a stop to get the ball back. And Baltimore would then give the ball to Forsett to try to run the clock out. He picked up 4 yards on first down. Jacksonville took a timeout. And on 2nd and 6 from the 41, Forsett picked up a yard. And Jacksonville burned their final timeout with just over 3 minutes left on the clock. So now it's 3rd and 5 from the 42 of Baltimore for the Ravens. And the Jacksonville Jaguars needed a stop, and the Ravens needed a first down. And Joe Flacco, out of the shotgun, ended up taking off out of the backfield and picking up 10 yards. And the first down as he brought the ball across midfield into the Jacksonville 48. And so now Jacksonville could not stop the clock other than the 2-minute warning. Bernard Pierce then ran for 28 yards on first down and brought the ball all the way to the Jacksonville 20 at the edge of the red zone, and Baltimore ended up taking a timeout. They then went to start the clock back up with a pair of runs by Forsett, and this game went to the 2-minute warning. And coming out of the 2-minute warning, it was 3rd and 5 from the Jacksonville 15 for the Ravens. Forsett only picked up a yard, and out would come Justin Tucker to attempt a 33-yard field goal to make it a touchdown with a 2-point conversion game to make it an 8-point lead. And it was up and it was good, and it was now Baltimore 20, Jacksonville 12. So Jacksonville would need a touchdown and the 2-point conversion to send this game into overtime with just over a minute left on the clock. They had it on their own 20, needing to go 80 yards. And on first down, Blake Bortles hit Cecil Shorts the third for a 12-yard reception and a first down at the 32. An incomplete pass brought up 2nd down, and on 2nd down from the 32, Blake Bortles was sacked by McPhee for a 9-yard loss. The Ravens defense came up huge and enforced 3rd and 19 from the 23. An incomplete pass would make it 4th and 19 from the 23. With no other choice but to go for it, out of the shotgun, Blake Bortles dropped back to pass, and he was intercepted by Miles, and that put the nails in the coffin, as all that was left to do was for Joe Flacco to take a knee as this game came to a close with the final score: Baltimore 20, Jacksonville 12. And with the win, the Ravens are now 9-5 on the season. They're 5-2 at home, and they keep pace in the AFC North as they remain a half game out of first place, trailing the Bengals, who also won. The Steelers won as well, so they're tied with the Steelers with 2 games left to play. They're both a half a game out of first, so real tight there in the North. Of course, Cleveland lost, and they're now eliminated. Jacksonville, they weren't really looking at the playoffs. They're 2-12 now with the loss. They're 0-7 as they remain winless on the road, although they did give it a valiant effort. And in this game, Joe Flacco was 20 for 30. He had 221 passing yards and a touchdown. He also had 8 yards on the ground off of 4 carries. Blake Bortles was 21 for 37 with 210 passing yards and an interception. He also had 2 yards off of 1 carry. The leading rusher in this game was Toby Gerhart. He had 13 carries for 54 yards. And the leading rusher for Baltimore was Justin Forsett with 16 carries for 48 yards. He also had a reception for 1 negative yard. And Pierce had 37 yards off of 6 carries. And the leading receiver in the game was Cecil Shorts the third. He had 6 receptions for 76 yards. Allen Hurns had 6 receptions for 70 yards for Jacksonville as well. And for the Ravens, their leading receiver was Marlon Brown. He had 5 receptions for 66 yards. The tight end Owen Daniels had 4 receptions for 62 yards. Steve Smith had 5 receptions for 37 yards, and Gillmore had 2 receptions for 37 yards. And on defense, the game's leading tackler was Jonathan Cyprian. He had 9 tackles. And for the Ravens, their leading tackler was Asa Jackson. He had 8 tackles, one of which was for a loss. And the Ravens had 8 sacks in this game. As Terrell Suggs had 2.5 sacks, Jernigan had 2 sacks, Mosley had a sack, McPhee had 1.5 sacks, and Elvis had 1 sack, Elvis Dumerville. So 8 sacks for the Ravens. Jacksonville did not have any sacks. And the final score, Baltimore 20, Jacksonville 12.